I mean, I think we've all witnessed our parents arguing. Have you witnessed your parents arguing?
Heard it, I've never seen it.
I've witnessed my parents arguing before, and it was over like disciplining us over something. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was a long time ago. And it just felt like it was my fault that they were arguing and stuff. So it was kind of, I get it. Sometimes you just like have emotions and express them and stuff, but I don't know. Maybe we shouldn't fight in front of our kids. Keep that stuff in the back door.
Okay. Even for child protective services, like we take like domestic violence and like emotional abuse like pretty seriously.
Yeah, emotional abuse I think would honestly be worse. My ex was emotionally and physically abusive, and so I think I would much rather be punched than the emotional abuse that he put me through. So
no, any type of like domestic violence situation, we almost always screen it in and have like an investigation worker like go to the house.
Yeah.
Check in. Even if parents are like, oh well, children were in the room. No. Because matter. My parents would fight, like they would bicker in front of us, but once it got really serious, like it went behind closed doors. But you can hear everything.
Yeah. You would like
it was still,
imagine
it was
the
still
worst
traumatic.
too.
Like my grandma was sitting with all three of us in a room, and we were just having to sit there and listen to it.
Yeah.
So of course we felt like it was our fault.
It's like, oh, it led from something that they were arguing about because I did something. Like, fuck, now they're fighting because of me.
Oldest sibling?
I have an older brother and sister. My sister is 4 years older than me, and my brother is 3 years older than me.
So you're the baby?
I'm the baby.
You're the
baby girl.
Oldest?
I'm technically the oldest. I have a twin brother, and then our sister's 5 years younger than us.
Okay. Does your twin look like you?
Yeah, he does.
Yes.
But he has darker skin than me, so yeah. But we look very similar.
So you're the youngest, and sometimes you feel like they're arguing because of you.
Mm-hmm.
Now, did you feel like they were arguing because of you, or did you feel like they were arguing because of you guys, like the siblings?
Or like the group?
It depends, because like sometimes it would just be like me, or sometimes it would just be like my brother or sister, or like all of us, or like two of us, like it just depended on what the situation was. Like, I know my mom didn't really feel very strongly about how my dad would go about disciplining us. And so I do like remember them arguing about like that every once in a while, or ever so often. Like, oh, I'll discipline my kids how I want to. They're my kids. Like,
is your dad a firm disciplinarian?
Yeah, my dad was in the Navy. He got like really squishy. Like when I was like a senior in high school, he started to get really squishy, and he's even squishier now. But like he was really
grown up.
Yeah, he was really hardcore, and it kind of sucked. But we have our flaws, and we grow. So
that's true. I remember we were on vacation in Mexico, of all places, and we were like walking through the market. Dad's like, everyone can pick out one thing that you want, right? So my dad wasn't that firm of a disciplinarian, but at times he was. I think it just was familiar because usually everything was pretty squishy, right? And so my brother couldn't decide between the two things, and so my dad and my brother start getting into it, like in front of other people. And my dad was just getting very loud, very firm, and someone actually like intervened. Like a guy was like, "Hey, like man, maybe you should take it down just a notch with your kid." My dad's like, "Fuck you! I can discipline my children however I see fit. Keep it moving."
Yeah. That's a sensitive situation.
Yeah.
To like
my
approach.
Brother felt very embarrassed. Right. Yeah. Then it's hard explaining that to a kid, like why you got so firm with a stranger.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But in his old age, he's especially.
Yeah. I actually watched my dad almost get into a physical altercation with a guy who was probably like 22 at the time, and I think my dad was like late 30s, early 40s-ish, maybe.
What was it about?
He was the referee, and he was doing a terrible job, and it was like the boys, it was my brother's team. They were getting just like fucking hacked left and right, and I don't exactly remember how it really escalated, but I do remember my dad getting kicked out of like the stadium a lot for yelling and shit.
Okay. So he gets really ramped up.
You know, so
Passionate.
I'm passionate. I'm passionate too. But you don't be yelling at people.
I was gonna say,
like
he
that.
just goes a little overboard.
And I'm pretty sure it was my brother playing soccer. I don't think it was my mom. But he most definitely was like, meet me in the parking lot.
Yep.
And like my mom was like, you need to go home. Get your ass in the car and go home. And they're like yelling at each other and shit.
Oh gosh.
And the referee's like, you're banned, da da da. And he's like, I don't give a fuck. Meet me in the parking lot. But that's badass for it at the same time. But like also like, you got a bunch of fucking impressionable kids around and like their parents. And I'm pretty sure my mom was a coach. So it's like, your husband's a little crazy.
Have you guys had to do the like 2 Christmases, 2 Thanksgivings, or you guys parents together most of the time growing up?
I mean, I do that now, but well, I can't really do that now because my dad lives in Nevada and I live here, and my mom lives here, so I'd have to like Christmas here and then fly, but not really because my parents divorced us when I'm adult.
You're adult. Yep.
Yeah, such a weird dynamic.
Yeah.
Trying to figure out whose house you're going to for Christmas first.
But I feel like my parents always did that for like our like the grandparents, like whose grandparents are we going this time or whose family are we going to this time, because both just like it's kind of a tedious situation.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what it is about family gatherings that is low-key stressful. Mm-hmm. Stop asking me about boyfriends and my weight. Why is it always like family always asking like, oh, how's your boyfriend, or when are you gonna bring a man home? Mm-hmm. Or
is that what you get asked for real?
Yeah. All the time.
I was like, how come your man's not here? You
like,
have other shit to do.
Oh, you look like you gained weight, or you look like you've lost weight. Like, yeah.
No, I used to get when grandma would ask like what size clothes like to my mom that I needed. She'd be like, really? I was like, what the fuck? Mind your business, Grandma. What the hell?
Don't judge me.
Yeah, if you don't want to buy the clothes, don't buy the clothes.
My grandmother once said, I used to be 230 pounds. I am now 165.
She's lying. She was never 230.
I was.
My highest was 225.
I was like between 220 and 230. I was very heavy at one point. And I was actually losing weight. I was about like 190, so I was like doing really good in my weight loss. And my grandmother was like, it was when I told them I was doing Amazon, but I was doing Amazon XL, which is packages that are 75 to 300 pounds.
Ooh.
But you do it with like a partner. I'm not carrying them by myself, but I can like shoulder 120 pound package. It's got to be a long boy though. Mm-hmm. Like, balance it. It's actually really easy. You'd like pick it up and you're like, oh, there's no way this is 120 pounds. And then like you try to like lift it up with your arms and you're like, okay, maybe it is. Anyways, she was like, are you sure you should be doing that at your weight? I think that's going to like hurt your knees. And I was just like, first of all, rewind. And actually, I was just like, I didn't actually get upset. I just kind of was like, no, I'll be fine. And I turned around and walked away because I didn't want to be an asshole to my grandmother for being an asshole to me. But they just,
same way.
You know.
When I cut off all my hair, my grandma was furious.
My family was upset too.
I was like, oh yes, I cut my hair. And she's like, why? Because I felt like it. And then when I saw her, she's like, yeah, I don't like it at all. You looked way better with long hair. Okay.
I'll just keep it short now. Thanks.
Feels good to me.
Yeah, a bunch of my family members were really upset, and they're like, but your long hair was so beautiful. And I was like, yeah, but it's just hair. It'll grow back. Like,
even then, is that like, it's not the only fucking thing that like defines me as beautiful. It's just my fucking hair.
Right?
Do you know how many guys have asked, because on my dating profile, I have like 1 or 2 pictures with me with long hair, and then the rest of them are all short.
Mm.
And they're like, "Do you still have long hair?" I'm like, "Nope." Crickets. I'm like, "Oh, okay."
I change my hair color so much that I just make sure that my dating profile has at least like the last 2 or 3 hair colors, because they'll be like, "Hey, I really like your green hair," and I'm like, that was like 4 hair colors ago. It's actually like green and purple
We're not even
now,
on that anymore.
or it's like blue and yellow. Like, actually, I've done yellow once and I didn't like it. I did like a chunk of yellow in the front. Let's go. It was green and
I
yellow.
think the hair colors is always fun. I've always wanted to do that.
I gotta redo mine.
But again, not the hair. Not your beautiful hair.
Mm-hmm. How dare you?
It is my hair.
It's like, oh, you're growing your hair out? That's so good. And I'm like, I'm not growing my hair out for you. I'm growing my hair out because I want my hair to be long again.
Mm-hmm.
My hair was like down to my waist.
Yep.
It's so long. So party.
Yeah. Yeah, my hair was like way past like my ass. It was 16 inches when I cut it off.
Oh, shit.
You guys feel good when you cut your hair?
It's like your head gets lighter. It feels nice. It's more airy.
It was the most freeing thing because my ex at the time was obsessed with my hair. And so I'd been thinking about cutting my hair for like 6 months. And I would ask, and he'd be like, "Don't cut your hair." So I found out he was cheating on me, and dumped me. I was like, "Dang." And I made an appointment the next day. And of course I'd been like crying and was upset. And it was the first moment that I just absolutely just like smiled. And I was like, I just did that for me. Nice. I felt really good.
I actually wasn't technically planning to cut my hair very short. But I was getting my hair redone, and unfortunately, my hair got burnt on one side because it was white and then black. And on the white side, because I switched hairstylists, they didn't. I'm like, my hair is white, and you should know how bleached it is. Like, whatever. Anyways, she dyed my hair, and we had to shave.
Death's door already.
Yeah, I was like, we don't really need to bleach too much of it, just the roots. But whatever. So I ended up shaving half this like quarter of my hair, and it looked fine. I just didn't really like it because you have to like constantly style it this way all the time, and I don't know, it was just like too much. So instead, I just shaved like the whole bottom of my hair. I had a fade with like a little bit on top, with some like texture, and then I kept my hair short for like 2.5 years. Let's see.
Yeah, I was gonna say, do you have a picture?
Well, this is my green hair from last year.
That's fun.
That's how fast my hair grows, by the way.
That's crazy.
And I've had a couple of haircuts since. Yeah. So, all right. Now, back to hair.
Do you guys like your hair getting cold?
I mean, I do.
I do. When my hair was short, this guy I was hooking up with pulled my hair, but it was like, I'm telling you, it was like this long. He like,
oh my gosh,
he like pulled it, and afterwards I laughed because I was like, no, you're not pulling my short hair. He's like, short girls need loving too, or short hair girls need loving too, and I was just like, oh, you really did the effort to do that. That's what I figured, you know.
Did you ever see I think it was a TikTok or a video of this girl being like, someone saying like, oh, like I can still pull your hair even though she was bald, and then he had like a plunger.
The plunger, yeah. I have seen that. Oh, that shit was so funny though.
Short-haired girls need love too.
That shit was crazy. Oh, this is the back of it.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, she did a little X. I went to a barber to get my hair cut. Because why would I go to a hairstylist? Like, who does long hair? Trying to find a picture of it.
And when was that? Sorry.
This was May 2021.
Okay.
And I went to New Orleans. This is like a little video you can see of it like styled. So it was like really short.
Color?
Yeah. I had dyed it red and then it like faded. I think my hair was brown underneath. But this is how it would look when I'd wake up or fresh out the shower.
Mm-hmm. Definitely had to style it.
You know, just like, goddamn. So I actually would wear a do-rag a lot when I'd sleep, or like when I'd first wake up, I'd wear my do-rag to flatten my hair. Because it just would be like...
What was that?
Do-rag is, right?
I used to wear a bonnet like when my hair was so long, because same thing, it's just like my hair is not really curly, but it's also not straight. And
I
so
wear a
like,
bonnet.
yeah, so like when I straighten it, it's like, and I sleep on it, it's all crazy. And I'm like, Then you're like in this in between trying to figure out what to do with your hair. So it's so much easier.
My hair feels like so much nicer when I remember to wear my bonnet. I'm trying to find another good picture of...
What's one opinion that you guys have that would get you canceled?
Well, I just saw the article about all of the metals found in like tampons and feminine hygiene products.
Oh, shit.
Like levels of arsenic, lead in our feminine hygiene products and all the major like retailers of feminine hygiene products. And I was like, then you wonder why you have all these women that are having like fertility issues,
Right.
endometriosis, ovarian cysts.
Not TMI, but my period only lasts like 3.5 days, thankfully.
Gosh, that's nice.
It's really fucking nice. But I also have the most atrocious cramps and am like incredibly nauseous for those 3 days.
I'm like out of commission for at least like 2-3 days.
I will accept that with not having to. Anyways, I don't use like regular brand tampons. I use the like organic fucking $10 for 12 tampons.
But they were saying even in those products, like they were finding metals in them. And
well, you about to just watch me free bleed? That's crazy.
So that's what I'm convinced. It's gonna be the cancer. I have a lot of bigger food is.
I don't think you get... Well, I mean, the medical industry and the feminine hygiene product industry would probably cancel her for that. Oh, get her That's false information. Tag it false information. It's false information because of this.
Right.
Thank you, Instagram.
Here's the link.
Here's the link to the .gov reason why.
But yeah.
Controversial. I don't know. I'm not sure if I want to get canceled this early. I mean, I already talked about how I'm pretty sure the Trump thing is a sham. The attempted assassination, that's probably cancelable.
That's fine. That's fine.
I feel like my cancelable opinions are pretty intense. Yeah. Don't pass on your shitty genetics, please. That's all I'm going to say.
What?
Don't pass on your shitty genetics.
Yeah, I think
There's plenty of children who need parents. You don't need to create your own, especially if you have shitty genetics. Go adopt. Give some child who has a shitty home a better one.
Thank you. We wonder why all these vicious cycles of poor education, youth being involved in the criminal justice system. It's like we're not providing enough support to these young people that need a lot of support. They're growing up in a different generation than everyone else did.
And stop judging parents for being parents no matter who they are. There's some guy who adopted 5 siblings, and all people could talk about was that he's gay.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, who fucking cares? Like, that's his choice. If they're being good parents, they're being fucking good parents, no matter who they are.
Group of siblings, do you know how hard it is to place siblings together?
Right, and he took 5.
People are hyper-fixated on the babies because they want the parents to fuck up and to lose their rights and to adopt that child.
Mm-hmm.
People don't want sibling sets And of course, we have people that are having a significant amount of children.
For no
We're
reason.
having 6, 7 kids we're trying to place in one home. But what kind of home is going to accept that many children? That would be very difficult. And that's a big ask.
At what point
But
do
why
we...
judge someone who's willing to do that? Because when we can find people like that,
Yeah.
that's what we survive off of. Like, foster care system is incredibly important, and I know people have a lot of opinions about the foster care system. But it's like, it's necessary.
It's super flawed, but...
It is flawed, but like, what else are you going to do?
Adopt them. Stop making babies. There's enough. For now.
Alright, last thing is therapy talk. Have you guys been to therapy before?
Yes.
I love therapy. I'm in therapy now.
I should probably try and venture into some more therapies. But
give it a little rundown, talk about it. Even if it's just telling us your experience on it, what kind of therapy it is, how often you go, would you recommend?
I would recommend everybody try therapy. If it doesn't work for you, probably try again. Somebody else.
Different form of therapy?
Maybe.
Therapy. Depends on what you're trying to address.
Yeah, group therapy worked better for me, but I also didn't try to find another therapist. They just told me that I was depressed because I was smoking weed, and I was just like, yeah, okay. I'm pretty sure I'm depressed for other reasons, but I started going to therapy after I was in an abusive relationship to try and get help, and they were like, yeah, you smoke too much weed, and I was like, okay. But then they recommended me anger management classes, but not like, it wasn't like necessarily anger. It was like just like controlling emotions and feelings and stuff like that. But it was like labeled under anger management. And there were people in there who like clearly didn't have control of their anger, because sometimes they would go off and I'm just sitting there like... And then they also went over like how to handle depression and other things like that. But it was, I think it was really informative, and I think it worked really well for me. I also went to a psychiatrist to get prescribed medicine. If it works for you, more power to you. If it makes you feel better, take it. It didn't work for me. It made me more depressed. I had suicidal thoughts, and I was like, absolutely not. I'm just going to smoke my weed and carry on with my day.
I had a very similar experience, because I feel like college into adulthood, like I just really struggled with my mental health.
Yeah.
Definitely like in an abusive relationship, first time that ever happened to me. So I was like, well, let me find someone to help. I didn't do group therapy, but group therapy has been proven to be the most effective form of therapy for people. There's like evidence-based research that proves that. Like there's a lot of healing that can happen in a group setting when someone actually like buys into it.
Yeah.
So it just depends. But like for me, like I'm very shy, just like naturally. Like I didn't have a lot of friends growing up, things like that. I didn't really talk to my parents about things. So the individual therapy is like what, like talk therapy is what worked best for me for sure. But I imagine I was in therapy for 2 years trying to contemplate how to get out of this relationship that I felt so stuck in this like cycle of abuse. And it just took my therapist like time out. It's like, I'm not gonna be your therapist for like 60 seconds, and then I just want you to like tell me what you think. And he just was like, what are you doing? He's like, you've been sitting in my office for 2 years talking about the exact same thing. It's up to you. You can continue to live this way, or like I know you have it in you to live it a different way.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really like out of talking with friends, family. It was like that's what really helped me like make that positive change in the right direction, like for my life. And it was a very like freeing experience. So then, I started like not doing well probably about a year ago, 6 months ago. So I was like, yeah, let me give it like another shot, right? This is not like therapy's supposed to be used forever. Like if you're doing well in life, I mean, like that's why you have your friends and your family.
Yeah.
But like obviously, like when you need support, I think going to therapy is really important. I always try to advocate for it. Very similarly, like at least try it.
Yeah.
It's like I had to go through like 3 different therapists before I found one that like I just felt comfortable with, kind of thing. It could build that rapport. But like it's okay to be like, it's not like dating.
Yeah.
It's like I just don't think we're quite vibing. A therapist will actually also share that opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Like if they're working with you and they're like, I don't really know how to help this person, like going
Yeah.
to school, we actually had to like take counseling classes and pretend like we were giving therapy to people.
Mm-hmm.
And there would be some times where we would be like mock practicing skills, and I just would feel like it would flow really well.
Mm-hmm.
And then there were people that I would interview that would be like, I'm stuck, but like
Yeah.
it's my job to figure out like where to like take the conversation
Mm-hmm.
or to reflect on what they're feeling or validate what they're feeling or whatever. And I just would feel like caught up, and I feel like I wouldn't really be listening to them
Yeah.
instead of actually like processing what they're saying,
Yeah.
and, like being an active listener in the conversation.
Yeah.
But I think it's really helpful. I love it. I love my therapist. I actually really look forward to therapy. And then I also feel like a lot better after therapy.
That's
Even
good.
if I feel a little down, I end up feeling much better, and then it gets me through until I end up chatting with her again. So
Yeah. I think for me, when I was doing the group therapy, I think it was like nice to like, I mean, you know that you're not alone and you're not the only person going through it, but like physically hearing it and seeing it and like all the other things that people are going through as well.
it makes a big difference.
It makes a big difference, and it makes you kind of feel more comfortable about opening up and like essentially accepting what happened, not necessarily forgiving the person or anything, or maybe forgiving them, you know, but understanding that it's not necessarily your fault, or, you know, whatever the therapy goes through. For me, that's what it was. And it was just kind of like more comforting because I didn't have to share anything at all, but like the times that I did, I felt safe enough because we all were sharing so intimately that it was like a comforting experience.
Absolutely.
But
the acceptance is, I think, huge. And
Yeah.
so, very similarly, with parents that are involved in the child welfare system, the ask will be that they participate in some form of like group therapy or parenting classes, or just like parent support groups,
Mhm.
people that are going through the same experience as you. Because being involved with child welfare, it can feel like a very isolating like experience for people,
Yeah.
especially if they don't have a lot of involvement with the department. It can be a very scary process, and because there's a lot of court hearings and there's a lot of rules, regs, laws that like everyone's trying to follow, and it can really go over people's heads. And so, again, it can be a really positive experience to know, like, okay, like it's not that I'm a fucked up parent. I might have fucked up. It doesn't
Yeah.
mean I want to continue being a fucked up parent.
Yeah.
And it's helpful to know that, like, okay, I'm not in this alone.
Yeah.
Like, there are other people that are, like, we have fatherhood programs, all these things that can be really helpful for people.
We're all human. We all make mistakes, but
Mhm.
what you learn from your mistake is the thing, you know? My current therapy is coaching little kids and the wild shit that they say and questions that they ask me.
Kids say the dumbest things.
This
They really do.
child asked me why my goal was yellow and the net was white, and I was like, you know, I have no idea. That's the colors that they picked. It's like, maybe so you can see it on the grass.
Mhm.
And then you're just like, where do you come up with these questions? And they also just kind of make your heart feel a little bit
They're just
better.
so curious and innocent
Mhm.
when they can be, and it's a beautiful thing.
And kind of reminds you of like your humanity, essentially, or mortality.
I think that's why I
Whichever.
found myself just so passionate about helping children. Like I was telling him, like I started my career in like community mental health, disability community. That's like a lot of my work. And I had a friend who already was in child welfare, and I was like, ew, I would not touch that level of social work with a 10-foot pole. Like when you tell someone you're a social worker, they're like, oh my god, like you do like God's work. And it's like, no, I don't work with kids or families. I work with mentally
Actually,
ill adults.
I do the devil's work.
I do the devil's work. And you know, we sat down and we had coffee about it, and she told me, and I was getting a little bit older. I had a lot of experience, at least. I don't think I would have survived in that job if I didn't have like prior experience, like working with people.
Yeah.
Because there is no true rule book on like how to help someone. Like it does just have, some of it just has to be natural, right? Like
Yeah.
you have certain things you're required to do, but like in a general sense of helping someone, like
Some of it you just kind of feel.
some of it you just kind of feel.
Yeah.
But and so I was like, I'll give it a try, and then oh my gosh, I think kids are actually pretty fucking dope.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it deserves to be an important part of our community and what we're just trying to improve, even though the system is flawed.
Yeah.
Right. It's like people that are in the work are trying, because I also just fell in love with the people that I worked with because
Mhm.
it was like, there was no bullshit, there was no drama. We have such an important job to do. Like, we don't have time for gossip, things like that. Like, people really just kind of work together, and like someone will get pulled into something. And it's just like a team effort every single day because you never know what's gonna
Yeah.
pop off. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And so I really fell in love with kids, even though years ago I hated them and I thought they were
You know,
awful.
I didn't necessarily hate kids. I just I had miscarried, so I kind of just was avoiding kids because it like felt a little traumatic for me for a little while, and so I like forgot that I like kids a little bit. I don't like all kids because some of them are little turd nuggets, and I low key want to punt them.
Totally.
I'm not gonna punt a child, I promise. But sometimes you want to punt them. You know, you just like daydream for a second. You're just like, cool, just like in Anchorman when Jack Black punts Will Ferrell's dog.
Yep.
It's your child in my brain. But again, they're so innocent sometimes.
Right.
You know, especially the under 5-year-olds.
Mm-hmm.
Once they start getting to like a little bit older, that's when their personalities and attitudes start forming.
Totally. Yeah.
And
They start figuring out who they are.
Mm-hmm. And start mimicking their at-home stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's fascinating.
Children, man.
You guys can sign off. Drop your social medias if you want to.
It's me, Danny, baby girl. You can follow me at _Queen Danny _ on most socials. Wasn't ready for the light change.
So sorry.
Sultry. Ooh.
Very
Follow me on Snapchat at Queen Danny 925.
I was gonna say I'm okay.
Alright, guys. Next Sunday, 4-foot bong,
4-foot bong and gravity bong.
gravity bong. See how that goes. I've never done a 4-foot. That's the only bong I've ever done.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and I only got that when I moved out here. I never did that.
That's crazy. I smoked out of a 2.5-foot zong, which is like the zigzag bongs.
Oh, okay.
I have a zong too, actually. I have a zong. It's like this big. I got a couple bongs. But my friend also had about a 2.5-foot inline perk bong. So it looked like an upside down T.
Oh, okay.
So the like bowl was like right here, and there's like a little chamber, and then the inverted perk, and then you. So it's like bubbles on the bottom.
Smoke session next Sunday then. Podcast.
Join us. Bring your weed.
What?
I'm just telling them to join us and bring their weed.
I guess invitation. I'll try to bring a couple people. You gonna try to bring some people?
I don't know people.
I'll probably bring a couple.
Maybe. We'll see. I don't
Other than
know.
that, this is Flex Center Radio, the Puff Responsibly show. One day at a time, learning, getting better, figuring all this out. Next thing you know, we'll be doing shows.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That's
Yeah, it
cool.
looks good on camera, too.
Does it?
Yeah.
This is a pashmina I'm making. Maybe a blanket. Probably pash. For the winter raves.
Well, that's so cool.
Find us at your nearest dispensary one day doing shows. They're giving us pounds of weed for free. We just gotta talk about the weed. That's the goal.
I was like, that's a thing already? We're doing that?
Man, no, that's the goal. Throwing it out there.
Manifestation. We're going to be doing that.
One day at a time.
Dabs and dank.
All of that.
Woo!
Cool.
I love it.
Edibles.
Signing out.